This is one of my personal favorite people on the planet, even though we've just met today, Donnis Todd, the Master Distiller at Garrison Brothers, and importantly, the very first Master Distiller in Texas. And Garrison Brothers being the first bourbon distillery in Texas. And you've basically been here since beginning.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
And you don't need to divulge your age to everybody, but you're not a very old man, so I'm really impressed by that pioneer spirit and you getting out here and doing it, and your passion for this has really come through today. I mean, we've spent all day with Donnis. Literally, I feel like we could sit here and talk for 2 days. You wouldn't stop talking, I wouldn't stop listening. We'll both sweat to death. But
a little drinking along the way.
That's exactly a little drinking. We got to try some really incredible stuff today, and thank you for that, man. Some things I really didn't expect at all. But one of the questions that I've been dying to ask you is, I'm a big fan of wheated bourbons, just in general, and anybody who watches my content knows that. And you use a wheated mash bill. And I'm really curious as to why a wheated mash bill. Why, bourbon, it's definitely more typical to go with a rye as your second ingredient. Why did you go, and I suspect I might have a little bit of this answer, but I'm curious, why did you go with a wheated mash bill?
The reason behind wheated bourbon, why is Garrison Brothers mash bill a wheater? And it's all because of Dan Garrison and what he really wanted. So Dan wanted to make the first Texas straight bourbon whiskey. And when we first started talking about that, I quickly realized that Dan was a wheater. When I asked him what flavors he liked, what other bourbons he enjoyed, things like that, everything went back to wheat. So we migrated towards a wheat mash bill, and that's kind of been the path that we've been on. It also helped us where everyone has a 200-year head start on us. So, and as you mentioned, there's not, it's probably 95% ryes, 5-10% wheaters out there. Most bourbons are rye based. So we needed something to make us just a little different, having with everyone else with a 200-year head start on us. So that also helped. And then third, why it played right into it is wheaters are just better at a higher alcohol content, and Texas delivers a lot of bang for the buck because of the Texas terroir and the evaporation. The water evaporates, quicker than the ethanol. So we have some pretty high alcohol content yields here in Texas, and wheaters do better at a higher proof than ryes, in my opinion.
Do you think that having a wheated mash bill, how much do you think that plays into your ability to put things into a bottle at extremely high proofs, the high 130s, even the low 140s, and have it still be drinkable? Do you think the wheat plays into that?
I think it does. Wheat makes it a little sweeter on the front, and typically, if you get the mouthfeel right, texture and stuff like that is so important for the end consumer to enjoy something, food or drink. So you get that mouthfeel right, but then right on the front of the palate, if it's a little sweeter right off the front, it's easier to get through the entire process. And I'm shooting for a positive experience across your entire palate. So if we can get that started correctly, a little sweetness right on the front really helps achieve that across the whole palate.
So we've been talking a lot about the 10th anniversary Cowboy Bourbon, and I can tell there's a lot of pride in that for you, not just being the 10th anniversary, but the product. We got to sample it today, and it's absolutely astonishing,
Thank you.
as Cowboy Bourbon always is, in my experience. And I've joked with a couple of different people that you have an ability to put something in a bottle that is at a proof that you would think is undrinkable and make it completely drinkable. Is Cowboy Bourbon your favorite? I love asking this to Master Distillers.
Sure.
What is your favorite
Without
product?
a doubt, Garrison Brothers Small Batch Bourbon is my favorite. Let me have a 6-pack of that, put me on a desert island. I don't need a fire starter or a pair of flip-flops. I'll figure it out with that 6-pack of Small Batch. And the reason is I married my 1990 prom date. Takes me a while to get over something. And every day I'm looking for the next 50 barrels to marry together to make Garrison Brothers Small Batch Bourbon. So I'm doing that day in and day out. Not complaining, not bragging, but that's what I'm doing. So all the others are really one-off. I get that together. I put a lot of work to get it right, but I'm right back in the barrel barn looking for the next 50. So to answer your question, without a doubt, Garrison Brothers Small Batch, a vintage strategy. Every single year it's different, but it's my all-time favorite, and it's my desert iron.
That's a great answer. And I don't think I really realized that small batch really is something that is evolving, that a lot of the base products from a lot of distilleries, they're trying to go for a consistent a profile for years and years and years and years and years. And you're actually taking a slightly different approach to that, where we want to try and marginally improve each year and make it better and better and better. So it's actually different. So if you bought a small batch 3 years ago or 5 years ago, it's not the same thing that you're putting out here today. And I thought that was kind of astonishing for what is technically, and I don't know that there's a base product with Garrison Brothers, but technically that is your entry-level product. So
Without
the passion
a doubt.
in it is incredible. I mean,
yeah. I mean, it's a vintage strategy, and we're 20 years into making bourbon. If we didn't get any better at it, we should go do something else. And today would not have been as enjoyable if we were still making the same bourbon that we were making back in 2005 and 2006. I promise you, it's much better now, and we're excited what happens in the next 20 years. Let's look forward. Let's not worry about too far back. And we're really excited. But it is a vintage strategy. Well, we're going to make better bourbon every single day. And we don't have 200 years back behind us. We don't have to make it exactly the same as we always have. There's a lot of great bourbons out that have already accomplished that. That's what they're doing. Let them keep doing it. We're going to do it our way. Make it better every time.
Well, and the mind just races with what might be possible with more time. I mean, you guys really are. You started here in 2010. I mean, technically, you guys are really a very young whiskey distillery.
Yeah. Our first release was 2010, but we've made bourbon whiskey almost every day. A couple Hallmark days we took off, but since late 06, early 07. I just started in December of 07, and there have been very few days that we didn't make whiskey. Very few.
Your passion and Dan's passion has been the most impactful thing for me here. I mean, we go to a lot of distilleries, and every distillery has its own unique character. But for me, the people here have been the standout. I mean, Dan literally gets emotional talking about it. And I hear you speaking about it, and your passion is just, you really love and believe this thing. And I know that your love and your heart and soul are in every single one of these barrels. And I think that really is a giant part of it. And for me, the pride with which I see you pour that out and pass that glass has been, it's everything that I thought I would get from you, meeting you in person, and you've not disappointed, man, one little bit. The last thing I wanted to talk to you about is you really spoke passionately about the people in the family here at Garrison Brothers, and how important it is that every person here is taken care of and provided for like a family. And that's the theme that I just keep hearing again and again and again from Dan and from Nancy and from you. Family, 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 family. And the feel's definitely there. But I would like to have you talk a little bit on that philosophy again, how important that guy sitting next to you. You talked about Slim.
That's right.
Everybody's got nicknames. And
we have 111 team members, and north of 40 just here at the ranch. From hospitality, culinary, bottling, and production. And it is one big family. We spend more time together than we do with our own family. And that's a big statement. The production operators work a 4-on, 4-off rotating schedule, 12-hour shifts. So half the year they work from 5 p.m. to 5 a.m. That's a lot of football games missed, and lunches packed, and homework and bedtime. That's a lot of stuff missed to make bourbon whiskey. You're not doing that to just draw a check. It's something you have to want to do. This is art. And the men and women that make Garrison Brothers are truly artists, and they're some of the best at their craft. And they're skilled labor. And I always want people to understand that. When that plumber, that electrician, that HVAC technician comes to your house, we all know that leaves a little mark. But those are skilled labor positions, and they get compensated to do that. And we want to do that here. The men and women that make Garrison Brothers Bourbon are skilled laborers. They should be compensated. And, it makes our product a little more expensive, but it's worth every penny. To us, it's much more important to create good American jobs, make a true American product, make a difference in our community, have a team that can purchase their first home, save and send a first-generation kid to college, and you're not going to do that at $29.99 on the bottom shelf, and I'm okay with that. Creating American jobs and making a difference in our community is a little more important to me than having a dirt cheap bourbon.
Agreed, and that's a very important distinction to make, man, and I'm glad that you did. Listen, I love the American spirit, the patriotism, the down-home spirit of adventure, that pioneer. You guys are just, I mean, this has just been incredible, man. And the passion that exudes from everybody. What was the name of the guy that was wrapping the deer skin?
Easy Money.
Easy Money. Even down to Easy Money, the guy who wraps the little tab around the top of the cork before they dip it. You could tell there was a lot of passion. I bet you he has probably done that 100,000 times. And the man was looking at that thing like it was the first time he did it. And that's just, I mean, it exudes everybody in this place. And that's an incredible thing to do. And you cannot bottle that any more than what you guys do here, which is you put all of that in a dang bottle. And it's just mind blowing. So I would like to announce though, and this is going to be news to you, but we'd like to announce to the world, Donnis is now my new best friend. We are best friends now. Me and Donnis
drinking buddy.
Let's do that. So Donnis and I are going to run off and drink some more of that bourbon. We'll see what we can do about that cowboy bourbon, man. If you haven't tried the cowboy bourbon, it's not a cheap bottle of bourbon, but man, the return on the dollar on that bottle is as good as any $30 or $40 bottle you're going to get. 100%. That's an incredible bottle of whiskey. That's coming out. If you get a chance to try any of their Ladybird, Cowboy Bourbon, Laguna Madre, just take the opportunity. It'll freaking change your life. So, Donnis Todd, absolutely a pleasure, man.
Thanks for drinking good bourbon, man.
It has been an absolute pleasure, man. Everything I could have hoped for. So I appreciate it very much. So check out Garrison Brothers. You're missing out if you haven't. Period.